Jillian, here at Bionic Buzz, we're all about people's passion. You're a very talented storyteller, either front or behind the camera, but where did your passion for filmmaking kind of come from growing up in Portland, Oregon?
I don't know. I mean, I was a singer first when I was really small, and I did a one-woman show when I was 7 across a bunch of different fairs in the Clark County area, and I just loved it. And a talent scout saw me and they were like, have you considered acting? And I didn't know what that was. I thought I was just performing the songs. I didn't really understand what she meant. And I took a class and then I loved it. And then, I don't know, it just kind of spiraled. I think that's kind of how it works. You do one thing and then you're like, oh, I like this. I'm going to keep doing this forever.
Well, very cool. You're launching a new podcast, but before I get that, I want to know about your kind of journey from Portland to LA,
Oh man,
over the years.
Yeah, my family and I moved down here when I was just about to turn 8. I had booked a play in Glendale, and so my parents were like, let's just move. So we moved, did the play. I did a lot of theater when I was younger, a lot of local community theater, and then I did Days of Our Lives when I was a young girl. And then I started doing more just guest stars, TV stuff. Then I kind of moved into the indie film arena when I was a teenager, and I've been kind of doing that stuff for a while now. And yeah, I don't know, it's one of those things where it just kind of spiraled, because I got to that point where I wasn't booking because I was 15 and they were hiring people who are actually my age now to play 15. So we started just creating our own content and doing stuff, and then I never stopped.
Yeah, so tell us, now you've started this podcast, right? And it's a weekly podcast, I believe. Mm-hmm. So tell us what this podcast is all about.
Yeah, it's called Thanks for Coming In, and about a year ago, I had the idea for it, but I was too busy working on To the Beat Back to School and getting that all done. We were just about to film that, so I didn't really have time. But basically, I was thinking about my career and all the things that I've done, and I've been up for a couple huge projects in my life that would have been absolutely life-changing, and I thought, isn't it strange that I know this, and the people that worked with me at the time know this, and nobody else knows it. And so I kind of was like, it would be really cool to do a podcast where I have fellow actors come on and tell their stories that are also the roles that got away for them. And I just didn't have the time. But then, I don't know, I guess a month ago, I was watching some Back to the Future documentary, and they were talking about how Eric Stoltz was Marty McFly for 6 weeks before he got fired and replaced by, why am I blanking?
Oh, Michael J. Fox.
Yeah, Michael J. Fox, before he got replaced by Michael J. Fox, because Michael J. Fox was the original, he was who they had wanted, but he was doing a TV show, so he ended up doing both at the same time, which is crazy and cool in its own thing. But Eric Stoltz was Marty McFly, and who would have thought that was a thing? So when I saw that, I was like, okay, that's it, I'm doing my podcast.
That's so cool. And I kind of want to get into you've done a lot of amazing on-camera stuff. We also done behind. You did To the Beat and To the Beat 2, Back to School, as a director. Talk about that.
I don't know how it's again one of those things that it just kind of happened. We had a friend come to me and my mom, and she wanted to do a film for her daughter and her daughter's best friend, and they were dancers and actors, and they had kind of hit that same phase that I had as a teen, and so she wanted to do a dance movie, so we wrote it together, my mom and I, and then when we were talking about directors, I was like, well, I grew up in the business. I've always wanted to direct, and I know how to deal with teenagers because I was a teenage actor. So I just kind of said, I'm going to do it. And I was lucky in that I have a great friend, Steve Hafer, who was the director of Victorious movie that I was in. And he sat down with me and gave me lots of tips. And I've also shadowed him at Nickelodeon, so that's really cool. And he was very helpful. And I just I fell in love with it. So then we did the sequel, and that was great too. And hopefully I can direct more in the future.
I love that. You're so talented. What can't you do? I mean, you sing, dance, and direct.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not the best dancer. Let's put that in. I think if I took a lot of training, I could be good, but it would take a lot of training for me to be a good dancer again.
You're probably better than me, so it's all right.
I don't know, man.
Well, I think it's cool because you get all this experience, obviously, from being in the business at a young age, and you're bringing it all to your podcast, and you can bring in people from, like I said, behind and in front of the camera and give their self to share their stories and inspire others,
Yeah, that's kind of the whole idea of it is like, a lot of these actors that now, you could have known them from something else, and the fact that they continued to work at their craft and continued to audition and not just throw in the towel when the big thing got away, just shows how resilient actors are. And I really want to show that side of the industry, because I feel like a lot of people just think that, like, especially A-list stars, are just like handed things and roles just come to them. But for the average actor, getting a guest star on a series is a huge accomplishment, and it takes a lot of work and a lot of time.
Is there, like, I'm always curious if an actor almost gets a part and doesn't, do like refuse to see that project on screen because like it's gonna hurt, or like they see who replaces them,
I've definitely been through that, where I've not watched things because it was just too painful. I think it's, it's a fine line. I guess it depends on how connected to the project you were and how badly you wanted it. But yeah, I mean, some of the people that I've talked to on the podcast, they've said that they won't watch it because they just feel like crap.
And also tell us, do you have an ultimate goal? Is it directing? Is it acting? Is it all of it? What is your ultimate goal, Jillian?
I guess it's all of it. I mean, I really look up to like Mark Duplass and Olivia Wilde, and they're just doing everything. I love all aspects of filmmaking. Films are like the number one thing. If I could just make a film every single day of my life, I'd be very happy. So I think it's just doing it all: producing, acting, directing. Margot Robbie is a huge influence right now too. She's out there directing and producing. Actually, I don't know if she's directed yet, but she's producing everything, buying the book rights to like everything. I just read a book called Made, and I looked it up because I was like, man, that would be a really good movie. And she already has the rights. She's doing a Netflix series or something. But I think nowadays it's kind of like you're either a filmmaker or you're not. And a lot of filmmakers are filmmakers, actors, directors, producers, writers, and everyone's just trying to create content because it's so accessible now.
So tell us, when is your podcast? Like every what day of the week and what time? Where can people find it?
It comes out every Thursday, so it launched May 28th with Eric Martzoff as the first guest, and it'll be every Thursday on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcasts.
Very cool. And where can we follow you personally over social media?
It's just at Jillian Clare everywhere. JILLIANCLARE. No I in Claire.